Hi there, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I'm working here on the YouTube platform to bring forward a look into February for the energy of Aquarius. Welcome, my dear Aquarians, and happy birthday to y'all. We have here astrologically for this month, starting on the 1st of February, we have a screenshot here about 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard, and it's an astrological look into the beginning of the month where there's a new moon that activates the first and second houses. Okay, around that cusp, and that means that this is a time to work pretty heavily under the information of Saturn that is conjunct the moon. It is a time for fasting. It's a time for discipline and skillful mastery of the self through relating to the Venusian world. That means there's something about attaining money, attaining possessions, belongings that will help you to define yourself by how much you are distant from it. It's a very interesting sort of duplicity. When you meet an Aquarian person, for example, they tend not to care too much. They have a heightened intellectual capacity, perhaps even a philosophy that is governed by what can be lost, Uranus, um, in what is gained. What can be lost in what is gained, what can be lost in terms of the impermanence of the physical world, okay, and our structures, our impositions into the holographic existential plane, yeah? And they know for some reason, like cats, for example, they can sort of have a sixth sense. They know what is not really relevant, okay? It doesn't mean that they're against like making money, against sort of attaining wealth, but this is a time where your skills will be elicited. Your skills will be something that you can value, and it activates something. You generate a lot more work at this time. And you're supposed to honor Saturn and the sun conjunct the moon. That's a new moon. That eventually conjuncts Saturn and Venus and to Neptune. So the stellium in the second house means that there's a positive energy, and your second house cusp is in the energy of Pisces that promotes purification of your resources, provide you work experiences, especially work that's close to home or close to your sense of like identity in terms of the work that you're putting out there. So this is a stellar time to program the mind to be able to let go of whatever, whatever attachments we have to the idea of making it, and just making it is enough, but then not really being attached to that idea that you've made it. It's a very strange but pretty intense reading. Plus, Pluto is on the ascendant at 1 degree of Aquarius, and as well, it conjuncts Mercury. When this occurs, there is a chance, okay, of an elevation of the sense of self that you have, your self-representation, how people see you. As an Aquarian, generally speaking, you tend not to care. At the same time, people have difficulty in sort of trying to figure out what you're thinking about, what your personal sort of idea of who you are or what you do in order to constitute what you are or what you do is secondary, like I said. And Aquarians are kind of the most eccentric sign out of the triplicity of air. They could be the most eccentric sign out of the entire zodiac. And what does that mean? It means that you're kind of a weirdo. This moon will bring forward that capacity to be a weirdo, especially the way you handle your work, your family, your money, your reality. And you're really going to take this sort of brunt of other people's judgments, okay, for example, but you're going to make it, apparently. Now I'm going to go ahead and look into your main ruler, which is Saturn's second house. The dispositor is Pisces, which is the dispositor of Pisces is primarily from especially a sidereal perspective, Jupiter, and we count how many houses away from Saturn Jupiter is, and that's two, 4 houses away. And it sort of it puts you into this dynamic wherein the solar energy that is coming from the fifth house in Gemini, um, it provides a window, a timed window where you're supposed to sort of define who you are, your self-representation, and go through a transformation. This is like kind of like spring cleaning, or perhaps um, a kind of wardrobe change. Okay, this wardrobe is what you own and how you convey yourself in a stylish way to the outer world. And it would be auspicious for you to take what you can from your creativity, that's the fifth house. Jupiter's in retrograde there. It squares up Saturn. The square Saturn, it forces you to creatively find ways to generate money, but also deal with family problems and your closest relationships. And somehow that's related to money and attaining something in terms of that. So be creative. It'll allow you to have the self-image that you project out into the matrix of our reality. Something of a transition. This is a transition phase. I'm going to go ahead and start now with the tarot reading, which is a six-card spread known as the quantum triangle. There's 2 and then 5. And we're going to use the 2 teachers of the zodiac, Saturn and Jupiter in retrograde, to conduct this quantum leap into the future, potential future. Okay, so that's 5. This deck is ready. Okay, we have Ace of Cups. Ace of Cups. Hopefully this keeps recording. High Priestess, Strength card, and then over the Ace of Cups we have the 9 of Swords. We have Judgment, and we have the 4 of Cups in the upper right. Okay, so your pathway of ascension for this month is, firstly, conquering your fears and letting go. Conquering your fears when it comes to blocks, whether they be psychological or based on the fourth dimension. Anything that's like an intellectual block will be resolved. There's something about letting go truly in Aquarian fashion of emotions that do not serve you this month that will be very important. The time leading up from the beginning of January up to now is very significant. There's something about the High Priestess and Judgment that puts you onto a right path. You're walking that path now. And right now is a really good time to shed old behaviors or not be affected by traumatic surroundings or traumatic connections or trauma bonds. Okay, so set yourself free from that. There is a chance to become very strong in uh, this type of way of doing things. You don't have to participate in the outer world or receive their trash or their pollution when it comes to unwarranted emotions, emotional content. Your time is to deal in relationships that have this built in. You're going to be offered love bombs or cups of love that come out of nowhere. And it's important for you to find the strength to understand when the shadow is motivating others. When this shadow is motivating others, then that cup is no longer yours. You're at a state of pure strength and fearlessness, and you can walk forward knowing what you are called to do, which is basically to set to rest any connections that are not for you. Okay, challenge position we have. Okay, so this is a time to define yourself through relating to others through a stylish way of eccentricity and non-attachment. Ahimsa, doing no harm by not attaching to others or their karma, is an excellent way to lead by example, to become united with the intellect of God consciousness, and to not allow others and their modalities to phase you. You're at a point where, yes, you're going to have to deal with each other, with other people, but you're at a phasic sort of capacity, meaning that you're not really there and you can phase other people out. You can be phased by people. And it's just kind of a transition stage where you don't have to participate in the nonsense. Okay, so I find this a very fascinating reading, at least for this month. Hopefully that has helped you. Yeah, um, this is the best setup I can do. I can't show the tarot cards right now, but I listed all of them that are part of this reading, and hopefully it's helped. If you need a private reading, I'm always available, and I do need clients. So you would be considered one of the lucky ones if you were to get a slot right now. I'm getting filled up, but I do need clients to survive. Anyways, please like and subscribe if you're new. Subscribe, and yeah, hopefully all is well with you guys. Happy 2025, and happy birthday to the solar Aquarians out there. Bye bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Pisceans out there. This is Ron from Terror of the Twin Sun. I am working here on the YouTube platform to bring a look into the future for the month of February 2025. And this is a look primarily at Piscean energy. So welcome to all your solar Pisces out there, lunar as well as Venusian, Martian. Anything that has to do with a placement of Pisces, especially the ascendant or the moon, sun, can be read from this reading, so you can spin the wheel accordingly. We are using the ascendant to place at the first degree this chart reading, and it's on the 1st of February 2025. I will be using tarot also for this reading, primarily through the quantum field, three and three cards, making six cards, looking into the quantum triangle. So this is a quantum triangle reading. I won't be filming the cards, but I'll list them out in terms of vocalizing what they are. And then I'll give a look towards ascension at the end of this reading. Firstly, the ruler of Pisces, the traditional ruler in sidereal astrology, is Jupiter. And Jupiter, like last month, is still in cahoots. It's in retrograde with a square in Saturn. But this does benefit you in terms of the houses of moksha, which are the first, actually the fourth, fourth, eighth, and 12th houses. 4, 8, and 12. So basically, this is a month that your fourth and 12th houses will be activated from, the, excuse me, from the ascendant Pisces. So any house placements away from Pisces, 4 and 12 are activated, and the triplicity of air is also activated in that trine, allowing for an interesting look into Jupiter and how it's giving blessings to primarily the Sun and Mercury, as well as Pluto. Any sort of shifts that you're going through in terms of spirituality is highly accentuated. Now, the one thing that is overlooked often, Pisces, is that the 12th house from Pisces is the 11th, is Aquarius. And it's a very interesting thing, considering that there's a lot of deprogramming that is occurring now, that Jupiter is trying to, in retrograde in Gemini, in the gateway of Gemini, the fourth house, trying to set you free on a spiritual dimension, allowing you to use the 12th house, okay, that is the energy of Aquarius, and the solar, Mercurial, and Plutonian energy that's there activates basically gifts that are given to you, gifts that are deeply within you. It has nothing to do with the outer world. It's all inner world in terms of the work that is being done here. And there's an activation of your 12th, and that does benefit you in terms of the gifts that Jupiter is giving you. And they might not be an outright gifts, like with the gateway in Gemini in retrograde, Jupiter in retrograde, then the house before it with the retrograded energy is being affected also. So there's a chance that your friends or your community will be in a sense of chaos. They won't know what to do in terms of especially realizing certain things, materializing certain things. Often the desires of your comrades, your friends, your cities, the people around you, they will be activating or triggering rather certain things that they would want something. Like say you have a friend that would desire a soulmate, for example. But then when doing that, the desire doesn't take the right intention or the right form, and you're just inviting, and the person would be inviting in a lot of other things that would be unwanted in a general sense. So this type of reprogramming is pretty fucking intense, excuse me, pretty intense in terms of what could be occurring here. As Saturn and Moon are in the ascendant, the monk or the nun comes, or the Mahatma comes. And this is a Vish yoga that is forming Saturn and Moon conjunction in your first house. That means that there is a tendency for some sort of skillful mastery or skillful manipulation of your inner gifts in the gateway of Gemini that is squaring Saturn and Moon conjunction to Jupiter, allowing for deep spiritual reprogramming of some sort. It's like giving yourself up and letting the codes of the collective, especially the future collective, just justify your desires, justify your ambitions, justify your dreams, okay? And these are slowly becoming spiritual objects, spiritual artifacts. So it's a pretty spacious reading in terms of astrology. Um, your ruler, once again, Jupiter, is in retrograde, and its dispositor, Jupiter retrograde in Gemini, is currently in your 12th house. Okay, that means that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 houses away, there is a teacher out there or some sort of guiding force that is from the other side that is on your side, and they are interdimensional. They can help you to sort of navigate this square, allowing you to awaken gifts or talents and to define your own body, your own spiritual body, your own etheric body, also your emotional body, to become resonant, meaning it will be able to contain something. You're going to be finding that what you express out into the outer world, what people see you as, is instrumental as you become an instrument for the divine. So it's a pretty spacious reading, as I've said. Now we're going to go ahead and get into the tarot and look into the quantum field. I'm pulling 3 and 3 cards. That's 6 cards total in order to see and divine what's going on in terms of ascension for Pisceans out there this month, and it's February 2025. Look at this. 1 and then 4. 1, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this deck is ready. So we have the Queen of Cups, first triangle, Queen of Cups, Page of Pentacles, and the outcome card. The Your seventh house, the house of solitude, the house of work. Also, the 9 is located here. It's the Hermit card. So Hermit, Queen of Cups, Page of Pentacles, first triangle. Queen of Cups matches the King of Cups, second triangle as well. The 5 of Pentacles, and the outcome is the Emperor. Wow. Okay, so there is a near future that is occurring this month that allows for the perfection of a path of empowerment. Perfection of a path of empowerment. This has to do with gaining skills and expressing yourself with a Raj-like quality. That means that you have a royal appearance. Your steps are royal. You are untouchable. This has to do with the connection between the Queen and the King of Cups. Now, it could be that for your part, there's a balance between masculine and feminine that is highly accentuated in terms of emotional resonance that is mature and developed. You exude this type of energy. It's a royal energy this month, and we also have the Page of Pentacles as well as the 5 of Pentacles in the past position. Now, this can be one of two things. Could mean that you've been conservative in the past, conserving your energy. Could also mean that you've met someone who does the same. And it's important to it's Mercury. So in terms of a past resonance, Mercury is important to get to where you're at. Mercury in terms of Earth. So that's the sixth house activation. Sixth house, first house activation is very strong in this reading. Two of Cups comes out from the King and the Queen of Cups' hands, um, and that's important. I'm telling you, there's something about you being untouchable, and there's also this altruistic quality that you inhabit that allows you to be generous, but also firm in your intellectual capacity, firm in your emotional intellectual capacity, firm and generous, yet not patronizing or anything like that. You earn your sense of royalty this month, something like that. It's a very strange reading, but that's what I see. It is an auspicious reading. I see it primarily as auspicious. So that's your quantum. And see the challenge position is Ace of Pentacles. Try not to be too hard on yourself or others. There's something about the quality of life when it comes to value systems in terms of the past. There's supposed to be money coming your way, but it's not supposed to be about the money. Like I said, there's power in generosity, in terms of what you give to others because of your spiritual richness. Okay, just by your presence alone is enough for a lot of people. All right. Hopefully that has given you some sort of idea of what's to come in February. If you need a reading, just reach out to me. I can be made available for a reading privately. If not, I do wish you well. Please like and subscribe as you will. Take care now. Bye bye. Hi there, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Welcome, my dear Aries, to the channel. This is a YouTube platform stream or production, and we're looking here at the first degree of Aries. So this is a reading for the month of February 2025, primarily for Aries, Aries Sun, Moon, Mars, Venus, etc., especially the ascendant Sun and Moon. Aries, we can read from there, and we're going to be looking a lot at houses, particularly one of them is the 11th house that's activated with the new moon closest to February 1st. And it is going to be an interesting time because it has to do with your goals and ambitions, your dreams as well. The goals, the ambitions, the dreams of the collective energy. So basically, humanitarian energy, and that stimulates essentially something within your network. Okay, your network of desires. The third and the 11th house is activated very strongly, and Jupiter and Saturn are in contention this month, just like last month, activating once again the third and the 12th house, and a square that is going on there. In terms of this, basically, we would look at the sun, which is the sun or Mars, and Mars primarily is the ruler of Aries. And currently, Mars is placed in the fourth house. So, what can we learn from that? Mars is in retrograde for one thing. It's very important to check your actions, make sure they're not from a place of ego, and to allow your instinct to take over, your intuition to take over. Okay, with Mars, excuse me, Mars retrograde in your fourth house in the energy of Cancer, we look to the moon for that, which is going to be moving from the 11th to the 12th, and then further down the line, there's going to be an important activation that kind of brings forward a heightened sense of things, a heightened intuitive energy that allows you to foresee certain things and gives you certain types of vision. This is intuitive clairvoyance, sixth sense type of energy, and this is a good one. This month basically will be a time for you to go deeply within and to find primarily some activations that have to do with dormant skills that are being activated. These are the types of skills that have to do with death of the ego. Also checking your actions, making sure your actions are not acted out according to the superego or the ego. Um, Primarily, it would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. The eighth and ninth houses will be activated very eight and nine houses away will be activated, which is your 11th and 12th houses. And that means there's going to be a change in terms of what you're learning, what you digest, also a change of opinions in terms of your teacher, a change or transformation, a connection that is rooted, keyword is rooted in the Muladhara chakra, and it moves from the 11th to the 12th. So there is a very strong esoteric bent to being programmed with certain codes or philosophies that might help you in the future. Primarily, that's what I see here in terms of this month. So it's a very active month. Um, a lot of the action will take way in the path of dharma. So it's like it's not really active, it's more passive, or more precisely, it's like the right thing to do. There's something about this month that allows for righteousness to take place, and because your ascendant's highly accentuated Venus, Neptune, and the North Node, you're going to do the right thing in terms of producing, producing spiritual side effects for others. Somehow that's what I see here primarily, spiritual side effects for others. So this is like collateral energy, or this is like passive dormant skills that come into play when the time is necessary, when time is right. So that's primarily what I see with this month. We are going to do a bit of a reading in terms of quantum. I'll be using a tarot spread known as the Quantum Triangle for February for Aries. And that's three cards laid over three cards. I'll list out the cards. Um, one of the big takeaways for the coming months is this Saturn and Jupiter square that activates for you um, a reallocation of your friend circles to making sure that your friend circles or your community is aligned with a common good or a collective aim. Okay, so it's very important to I would say to let your friends be reflective of some of the gifts that either challenge you or um, that push you in a way, that motivate you, your friends, even if like they don't seem to have the same type of philosophy or the same type of learning that you are currently picking up. Eventually, there is a shift in terms of your friend circle or your community. You could move to another place and move to another social circle, and that would be beneficial when Jupiter does go direct. Let's see here. So it would be, let's call it 3 and 3. 1, 2, and 3. This deck is ready. Okay, first card to show up on the first triangle is the Four of Swords. We also have here the Four of Cups and the Nine of Swords in the reverse. So Four of Swords, Four of Cups, Nine of Swords in the reverse, first triangle. Second triangle, we have the Knight of Cups. We have the Tower as well. In the future position, we have Two of Pentacles. All right. So I see here basically a time where you can ascend primarily by figuring out what corely resonates with you in a time of peace. If things are dead silent or you find yourself isolated, lonely, perhaps, it's important to realize that what you bring to the table could be refreshing to others in this time. Basically, that you are regenerating, and this is a time for regeneration. And what does that imply? It means that you would bring newness to new cycles, and that's what regeneration is. It's the ability to bring newness to new cycles, and that means that this is a time where you can reflect, and this is a time where you can reflect on what has been either 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 kind of like projected from a fear of missing out from the past. Okay. But if you made that choice not to participate in something that was destined to fall anyways, it's important to note that you are regenerating. In the near future, or perhaps in the coming months, there's going to be a difference, and it has to do with the 9 in the reverse, 5 of Swords in reverse. You're going to be able to retrace something, like retracing your steps when it comes to where you have always been going to. Meaning that if you have cut a certain timeline out and you're at a limbo right now, it's important to realize that the future is going to be fearless, that you're not going to have any second doubts. You're going to be able to retrace your steps and to see naturally how you've come to that. It seems to me that Aries, for this month and in the past months, have lost something significantly, and it's important to find the foundation, your own personal foundation. And that is a very significant thing. If you move into the future, any timelines that may have been confusing in the past no longer are a source of fear. And this is your pathway of ascension. Let's see. We have 7 of swords as seven of wands as an obstacle or a stepping stone. If you find yourself blocking yourself off from the egoistic behaviors of others, that's fine. Go ahead and do that. If you find yourself also trying not to interfere with others, and it feels like that is a game of ego for you, it's not. You need your own private space for at least 4 weeks in order to gestate and regenerate a new type of energy, a new type of cycle. And yeah, I see here a very positive reading in terms of letting go of something and regenerating and going into the forward motion of the future without being confused about your options. Okay, so that's what I see. Hopefully that helps. Wishing you well for the month of February, etc. If you need a private reading, just reach out. Otherwise, take care. Bye bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Taurians out there. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I am working here in the month of January, looking into February for the energy of Taurus. And this is a prognostication, a look into the future for the energy of Taurus. We're going to be focusing on the second house, Venusian Earth. And this has to do basically with the movements of Venus, the new moon also that highlights particularly the 10th and the 11th cusp in the beginning of February. So this is a look into February 2025 for the energy of Taurus. Firstly, there is something of the outer world, planting seed in the outer world with the sun and the moon conjunct late January in the 10th house. An activation of some sort of wealth comes through work. And your 10th house is very much highlighted with the sun, as well as Mercury and Pluto in the 10th, and Jupiter in retrograde conjunct Pars Fortune. It allows for something to arrive. The thing is that Tauruses in general, especially ascendant Tauruses, they have the capacity to kind of work in 2 different fields, meaning that the home becomes a resourceful place for recharging. The tamasic quality of Taurus, the Venusian quality of Taurus gets highlighted by the sun. And the sun opposing the 4th in the 10th, it allows for at least this time to manifest something of an alternate timeline, an alternate source of income, or an alternate sort of look into your career. And the thing is that because Tauruses are endowed with Venusian capacity, their hold on aesthetics and their hold on their idea of work, it comes as a alternate. What comes to fruition basically with Aquarius in the 10th cusp, okay? potentially also Capricorn in the 10th. This cusp line, it allows you to sort of progress and move into the arts primarily. That's what I'm seeing. Aquarian energy is highlighting an artistic bent right now, and you are given basically a chance to plant seeds in terms of perhaps making value out of your work, out of your art. Okay. Um, Further, your ruler Venus is in the 11th, 12th cusp, and it's in the energy of Pisces, and in the cusp also potentially of Aries as it moves from here to here. And this stellium in the 11th and 12th houses, it produces a naturalistic quality of you to sort of bend your will to the collective will of others. And also there's a very deep spiritual undertone, a sense of an ending when it comes to projects, when it comes to your dreams or ambitions. There is potentially a shift when it comes to that. And Uranus on the ascendant on your first house, basically, it allows you to generate, with harmonious aspects to the 11th and 3rd, actions that are tailored to align with your friends' actions, your network. All of that is aligning to some sort of spiritual ideal. So there's a very strong spiritual undercurrent for this month. Venus, the dispositor of Venus, which is in Pisces, Jupiter, is 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away, activating once again this harmonious aspect. It wouldn't surprise me that if you were working, or if you have something like when it comes to ambition or a shift in terms of your career, it would come to fruition and it would pay off doubly when Jupiter goes direct in time, because it's currently retrograde in the house of Gemini, your second cusp. So there's this dual aspect about it where you can intellectualize or perhaps conceptualize your reality, and it gives you the birth to try something new, to try something different when it comes to alternate sources of income, through creativity, through desire, through the houses of karma, okay, through the houses of desire and ambition, intellectual ambition especially. So we can also look at Jupiter. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses away. Once again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 houses away. There's something about karma that is kind of like crushing the dreams of others in order to formulate new communities. This has to do with their own sense of stability. A lot of stability is coming from the unknown right now. Saturn and Moon. Okay, these are skills of a Vish yoga, which is a spiritual yoga in Vedic astrology that allows for the creation of monks, the creation of nuns, the creation of Mahatmas. And Mahatmas, nuns, and priests, whatever, sheikhs, they all sort of have these ingrained, or like inherent, I want to call it, inherent awakenings, and they happen at certain times. This is a time where either you or your friend circle, or like there might be a lot of people that are out there on the web or out in your circles that are having awakenings. It's kind of like what do they call it, a hastening, or it's just this general feeling that people are waking up is what I see here primarily through this reading. So it's not the most stable at times. Tauruses have had it very difficult because the ascendant, which is the body and the temple of the soul, basically, it's been having a lot of Uranus on the ascendant has been having a lot of difficulty. Um, a lot of people are having difficulty with Taurian energy. They're having difficulty sort of finding stability, for example, or finding like something that they can fixate on. Uranus is not happy over Taurus, and Taurus is not like Uranus over it, because Taurus is all about fundamental stability and practicality. They can be creative, but then they don't want to be bothered. So yeah, it still is kind of difficult, but you might find yourself shifting, finding tribes, finding your tribe, whatever, when it comes to different perspectives online or through technology. It would not surprise me also if artificial intelligence, all of that technology and social media, social technology were to work in your favor in the future when Jupiter goes direct. Now let's go ahead, and also Mars, when Mars also goes direct. Let's go ahead and do a quantum reading. So the second segment of this is based on tarot. I'm not filming it, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the reading anyways. So let's see here. We have Jupiter 2, and then 7, 11, 1, 2, 2 and 2, the 4. Gemini, 2 and 2. Okay, so this deck is ready. And once again, we're doing the quantum triangle reading. So it's a quantum technology, 2 overlaid triangles, 3 and 3 cards. We see a pathway of ascension using this spread. So we have 2 pentacles in reverse. We have star card. We have also judgment. There is a chance that you have let go of something, and that thing is something that you may miss or may be told to miss. The idea here is nostalgia. If you have changed timelines, or if, yeah, because that's what it is, it's changing timelines, it's making a shift. There's a lot going on in terms of ascension this year in particular. I haven't done a yearly reading. I might do a general forecast for that, but generally speaking, in the spiritual community, a lot of people are letting go of old timelines this year. And this, for you, this is happening very early. You're going to observe people that are doing this, and you will learn through them their process of healing. There's something about a voice that calls these people to do what they do, but they're not entirely cognizant of it. And the idea here is not to voice these things, but to feel them. And whatever shift that you're going through in terms of this, letting go of an old relationship, letting go of an old job, kind of regretting it or missing it or being told to remember it and honoring the dead, it is a pivotal pivotal time for you to do that. We have here also a potential that your first, second, or third houses, or perhaps the ending, the 10th, 11th, and 12th houses will be activated. So this is the closing of a cycle. When Taurus season comes up, there is a chance that you've already let go completely of a cycle that has not been worthy of recycling, let's say. Especially old voices. They should be felt, the voices, they don't have to be understood. And you can observe people who are letting go of things this month in particular and learn from them. Now, one of the challenge cards here is the 9. You have to find a way, 9 of Pentacles, you have to find a way to honor Venus, okay? And Venus is currently under malefic moon, as well as malefic Saturn, okay? As well as the North Node and Neptune. There's something like not not investing too much into toxic social medias or toxic medias. If you think about it, most medias online or most medias on television especially are based on fear programming, and you don't need that. It doesn't serve you. So yeah, there's something of either a network cleanse or a media cleanse that would be beneficial for you at this time, and your body needs that. Your body needs to find a sense of rest, and you need to get in tune and grounded. That's what I see with this month. Hopefully that has come as insightful. If you need a private reading, just email me. I can be made available for that. I need clients. Otherwise, yeah, wishing you well. Take care. Bye bye. Hi there, this is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. Welcome, Gemini, Gemini Suns, Lunar Geminis, Martian Geminis, Venusian Geminis, Gemini Ascendants. This reading can be taken and spun accordingly, but we're going to be using the Ascendant as the first house in Gemini as the bearing for what's to come. In the month of February 2025, we have a screenshot here of the 1st of February 2025 at about 1:08 p.m. I believe that's PST, Pacific Standard. And we're also going to be doing a reading on quantum using tarot. That's 3 and 3 cards spread to make 2 triangles that let's say triangulate the future in the month of February for Gemini in terms of ascendancy, how to rise. So the ascendant is very much important. This year is going to be pretty crazy in terms of an astrological configuration. The first big one since last month, especially in the month before, is a square between Jupiter in retrograde as well as Saturn. And it's going to be the tone of this reading because also the sun and the moon conjunct in your 9th house. 9 houses away from Gemini is the energy of Aquarius. So this is an auspicious time, at least collectively, from an astrological standpoint, for a number of things. Primarily Aquarius season will bring forward the highness of the triplicity of air, and that allows for an elevation of some sort, an intellectual capacity, your goals, your ambitions, your thoughts manifesting reality through manas, as well through kama, through the desire principle. You can manifest a great deal in this gateway of Gemini. Now, we have here the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, okay, for this month currently in the 9th house, and that also is activated with Pluto and the Sun and the Moon conjuncting in the 9th house in late January, in the cusp of Aquarius. Now, all of this Aquarian energy is initiating a lot that has to do with the Aquarian age, 9th house principles of philosophy that's taking shape in foreign places, taking shape on the internet, on high forms of spiritual technology that are reflected in our mundane technologies, and the ethical use as well as the evolutionary growth of our spiritual technologies in tandem. So what does that mean? It means that there is a chance that you are being imparted messages. We look to Saturn for that because the dispositor of Mercury, which is your ruler, the dispositor of that Aquarius is in Saturn. Okay, and that's two houses from the 9th, 1 house, 2 houses, or 1 house, whichever way you would prefer to read it. So basically that is a way to, it's an interesting thing, to sort of understand the delay of key philosophies that are emerging but haven't taken complete structural integrity, meaning that our technologies now are yet to be assimilated into a way of understanding why, existentially, why we use such technologies. And it's not just electrical or informatic or intelligent technologies. It's beyond that. It's technologies of the spirit as well. That is 10th house 10th house Pisces cusp, Saturn, square Jupiter in retrograde, there is a gateway that will open up when Jupiter goes direct. And that would free up the stagnant energy between Saturn and Jupiter, which are the major tools of the of planetary configurations of the great teachers of the zodiac. And I think it's interesting that during the new moon, there's going to be a waxing of the moon that allows for spiritual tools, spiritual skills, I want to call them, skills that are practical, that will infiltrate places of work, that will embody the outer world, the 10th house. And this is an auspicious time to take slow action in a time that is very, very full of transition, change, and chaos. And it's important for Geminis out there to try to figure out and learn from such future isms, from future technologies, future spiritual technologies, future networks, and try to make money off of it in one way, or like try to figure out how to be practical about the use of such technologies or new systems of currency or exchange. How to be practical with it. So it's a very unique reading. If we look at the dispositor of Saturn, then we look to Jupiter because that's Pisces, and Jupiter is the traditional ruler in sidereal astrology for Pisces. We get 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away. There's something about these things in the outer world that are coming close to home. And the home place, or like what's used inside of your domicile, in terms of these types of technologies, will be important somehow. That's it for now, at least astrologically. It is a month where your 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 1st, and 2nd houses, this whole half here, from your MC up to the 2nd, from the 9th up to the 2nd house, is pretty important. And these are, generally speaking, the houses of the non-self moving into the self, moving into the very basic essence of us and who we are. Gemini is good at picking up streams of information, and then understanding its influence. So take what you will of this reading. We are going to look into the quantum field now, using the great technique known as the quantum triangle. 2 superimposed triangles. I'm gonna go ahead and shuffle the deck. I'm not going to be filming this part, but I will list out the cards as they come out. 6 cards plus 1 more for a foundation. So I'll get started now. Let's see, 1 and then 1. And then 1 and 1. That's 4. This deck is ready. So I'm going to start pulling for the first triangle. 3 cards. 6 of Cups in the reverse. That's the pathway of ascension. We have the 8 of Rods. We have also the Justice card in the future position. So Libra is becoming activated. If you look at the 5th house of your cusp of Libra from the ascendant 5th house, we have the South Node, Vesta, as well as Lilith in the 5th house. There's something about balancing out key relationships, and your pathway of ascension is to basically detox, and detox from old connections. If something is over, it's over. If something is beginning, you will see that there are certain chinks in the armor where if you were to apply a little bit of vibration on someone's shielding, the shield would shatter. And that's what I see with it in terms of relationships. You're going to be able to see very clearly people for who they are and shed the light, shed the emotions or the artificial emotions, if there are any in those connections. There also is the Hanged Man, which is a very interesting card in the past position. So there's a move from Aquarius to Libra. And when this happens, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 cards away. The 9. There's something here about the seeds of Aquarius already being planted in terms of an age and a spiritual information system. They've already been planted. Now is the time to detox from very terrible relationships or connections or memories that are there, to release those. You're going to find that it will be an empowering thing, and it will activate the 999 for you, which is an incredible, powerful number. 99, 99, 999, or 99. Those numbers are very powerful in terms of activating a way to balance out and become detached from very terrible situations, as I've mentioned. It would not surprise me if Geminis are losing a considerable amount of connections during this even just the beginning of this year. We've already seen, for example, I don't know, I'm not very good with news, but the fires in the Pacific West Coast that have totally demolished and taken away a lot of property from people, and this property is immaterial, but at the same time holds a great deal of weight. And if you were to look into their charts, these homeowners, and into the parallels in the grids, astrocartographically, you would see that there is a reason why all of this is happening. And I haven't done the work there, but generally speaking, this is going to be a way of elevation of the mind to really discern what it is and what isn't it when it comes to what stays in your life. This has been a theme for the past months, and there is a state of purification and release of toxic situations, toxic relationships, and you're kind of approaching the nexus of safe crayons, something like that. Safe, non-toxic crayons. That's the best way I can sort of put it. One thing is that during this time period in February, do not let the fears of others become your own. Meaning that you're supposed to learn when the thoughts or emotions are being carried through the vessel of your body. And sometimes you don't need those because they're not yours, okay? And I'm not gaslighting you or anything. I'm just saying that you can carry a lot of the weight that you don't need to be because that's what other people are thinking or feeling. All right, hopefully that helps. Take care. Bye-bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Cancerians out there, my dear Cancer friends. Welcome to the channel. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I'm working on the YouTube platform to bring forward a look into the month of February 2025. And yeah, we are moving and trucking along for this year. It is a positive year, generally speaking, in terms of spiritual ascension. The 8th house, your 8th house, is highly stimulated in terms of a new moon energy that is in late January, and it carries on and stimulates your 8th, and 9th houses in early February. So when it comes to that, there is most certainly an activation of deep esoteric
knowledge that comes from the Akashic record. That's the energy of Aquarius. Okay, and the Sun, Mercury, and Pluto create a conjunction there along with the Moon when it is late January and it pushes forward. There is a sense of major transformation that occurs and activates also your 12th house. So the 4, 8, and 12, the houses of moksha or liberation in Vedic astrology, are highly activated this month, which is a positive thing. Plus, the later half of the zodiac, which is the house of the non-self or the universal self, is also activated with a stellium primarily around your MC. Okay, that's a lot of planets in the cusp of Pisces as well as Aries, mostly in Aries. So this is a positive month for sure in terms of your own understanding of core truths. Okay, core truths that stem from either wisdom principles of wisdom, religious philosophy, spirituality. This is a really good time for rituals, pujas, and anything that has to do with clearing out house of karmic debts. Okay. It's a very good place for your career also and your mission in terms of really coming into a form of action. Mars on the ascendant in retrograde, which is a very good thing, and basically you can align yourself with travels. And mostly it's like travels within knowledge systems, travels within the Akash, astral traveling especially, using your spirit vehicle to go out there and figure out information. Saturn and Jupiter are still in contention with a square that highly accentuates, excuse me, once again, Saturn is conjunct the moon around this time. The moon will, of course, will move quickly, but there is a type of skill set that is a very spiritual skill set that will be delivered to you, and it will mature when Jupiter goes direct in your 12th house in the gateway of Gemini. So generally speaking, this is a time for aligning your actions, not to take actions, but aligning your actions towards a mystical pathway. Okay. There also is the moon, which is your core dispositor in the energy of Pisces. The dispositor of Pisces in that cusp of the moon is Jupiter, and that provides 1, 2, 3, 4, or 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, 4. That provides you with a chance to, at least in this month, to go deeply within and also seek out very specific energetic grids that will activate through your body and through the temple of your mind, your soul, your body, the temple, to go there and get these activations. So right now is a really good time also for like pilgrimage or doing some sort of homage, praying, or perhaps connecting with the divine somehow through energetic grid sites. Okay, that means like going to like very special places for either religious worship or spiritual cleansing. Okay, so generally speaking, that is positive. The square is the primary sort of difficulty for everyone in terms of of like really getting the gift that should be produced in the gateway of Gemini, Jupiter in retrograde in Gemini. The gift will come eventually once Jupiter goes direct. Also, we have here the 9th and the 12th, very highly accentuated. Also conjunctions of, malefic conjunctions of Saturn, Moon, and Venus. It's not a very auspicious time for relationships, but you still can have them. It's like right now, there's a lot that has to do with really standing firm with the truth and being patient with these connections. I'm moving now into the quantum field. We're going to be doing a little bit of tarot. Excuse me. I'm not going to be filming this, but I am going to shuffle up and pick 3 over 3 cards. That's 6 cards total. I'll list the cards through audio, and then I'll do the reading. It's a quantum triangle reading, so basically for the month of February, we're going to look at a pathway of ascension. Okay, this deck is ready. Top of the triangle, we have first triangle, we have strength card, we have magician, and as a base as well, we have four of swords in the reverse. Second triangle, we have death card. We have also the page of pentacles, and the outcome for that triangle is the four of pentacles. Okay, so what I'm seeing very clearly here, especially in the future position, there's something of a process. It takes about 4 weeks. Could be 4 days, could be 4 months, up to 4 months for this project to come to fruition. But your pathway of ascension has to do with getting the rest that you need. In this rest, you're going to be very busy, meaning that when you sleep, there's a very strong probability in February that you will be given keys and skills in order to level up somehow. You'll be doing the work, and the brain and the astral body will be very much projective during that time, meaning that it won't be the best sleep, but you're going to get your work done, spiritual work done in your sleep, especially in the later 2 weeks, I would say, of February. There also is something that you gain from that process. It's like you're going to know what to do, how to move forward in terms of relationships, which relationships to keep, and what project to work on. It's gonna be interesting because you're gonna conserve the learning that you have, or whatever you find in your research around that time. We also have strength card and death card. There is a type of transformation. It has to do with transformation of the shadow, and I see here gaining strength, dealing with your shadow, also dealing with the shadow and the strength of others in terms of their shadow. This is a month for shadow work, and you're going to produce very positive effects when it comes to that. The 5th and the 8th house relationship will be very significant. That means that 5, 6, 7, 8, that there is a chance for you to sort of learn from fixed investments, fixed energies of fire. Okay, and that means that you're going to be able to potentially, I would say, be more rational for one thing, to see straight through situations and to cut things with precision. And that's through the righteous fire of Scorpio and Leo. So generally speaking, it is a month also for shadow work. A lot of it will be done during sleep. In the past position, we have the Magician, as well as the Page of Pentacles. Now, Page of Pentacles is interesting because it's gonna be giving you something, an idea. So an idea was planted or seeded. It's not a time to be overtly emotional. It's a time for, generally speaking, shadow work. And this month will be very positive in terms of producing what you've been projecting, what you've been planning. Okay, in terms of especially finding authentic connections. Six of Cups as the cross position. So we have here a potential to let the shadow do its thing. Let your subtle force do its thing this month, and for you to gain from that materially or perhaps through practicality. There's like a logos or a logic about all of this, which I think is a very positive reading. All right, hopefully that has given some insight. Take care now. Bye-bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Leos out there. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I am working here on the YouTube platform to bring forward a look into the month of February for the energy and the cusp of Leo. So any placements within Leo can be read into this reading, particularly Sun, Moon, Ascendant, if you're a solar Leo, especially lunar Leo and an ascendant Leo. These are all relevant, as well any planetary placements, including Venus, Jupiter, Mars, etc. So we're looking into February 1st. There's an activation late January in terms of a new moon that activates your 7th house. So it would not surprise me if there were certain situations or relationships that you may be going through in this month that allow you to become more free and free up your time. You don't have to be beholden to maintaining these, because when the sun approaches the cusp of Aquarius and activates your seventh house, your descendant especially, it combusts Mercury as well as Pluto. So any sort of transformations in terms of thinking about the other or changing the way you think about another, especially past connections, soulmates, karmic partners, anything like that, or even business partners. Basically, there is a rectification at this time wherein the sun will act as a facilitator. That is, the solar sun will act as a facilitator for your outer world, your relationships especially. And this allows for one of two things. Either for at the nighttime, during this time period, at the nighttime, for relationships, shadow work to be done around the nighttime, or daytime, purging to be done, okay? In terms of your relationships to other people, significant others especially, okay? This is a time, basically, that promotes that, and Jupiter in retrograde in the gateway of Gemini in the 11th house will produce that effect, and there will be a further accentuation of the square to Saturn, which has been covered in the past readings of this channel, that produce the effect of major transformation, for one thing. 8th house, your 8th house is activated with the moon as it waxes from the new moon into the 8th house. There's a stimulation of your resources that come from relationships, okay, and your familiarity to that, and sort of converting, shifting energy that allows for you to be more clear on your goals, or to redefine your goals, to also redefine your ambitions. And this is an auspicious time for you to do that. Generally speaking, the energy of Leo is dominated predominantly through the sun, and it is being the sun as well as this stellium, this minor stellium of Mercury and Pluto and the sun conjunction in the seventh house produces basically on a general level a lot that has to do with hidden blessings from Jupiter. As Jupiter goes direct throughout the year, there will be a sort of blessings that come to you, okay? Primarily from the square between the two planetary teachers of the zodiac, Saturn and Jupiter in retrograde, will produce for you an effect that gives you goals, it gives you ambitions, but then it reaches a completion of those, and you get what you need out of it. You get relationships, especially that you need out of it. Okay, so that's sort of a mouthful. The dispositor of the sun in Aquarius is Saturn. We look to Saturn 1-2 houses away. I told you there's something about you generating wealth because of it, and it's not just normal wealth, it's spiritual wealth. And there's an attunement early on in February. There's an attunement late January, early February. There's an attunement that brings forward a Vish Yoga, which is Moon Saturn conjunction in Pisces. Okay, so there could be a flood of information. It's a very spiritual time for a lot of people, and there's a chance that you can eventually gain something from it in terms of reality, in terms of real things that you can tangibly hold. Okay, like money and energy and resourcefulness, goodness, food, all of that is coming. So yeah, that's the basic thing. If we look to Saturn's dispositor, for example, in Pisces, it would be Jupiter, the sidereal ruler of that sign, and Jupiter is 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away in the cusp of Gemini, and Jupiter's in retrograde. So this is going to be very intense. You're going to find that other people, especially the ones that you really care about, they're going to go through their own personal transformation. There could be a block in terms of what they truly want, in terms of their visions, their desires. Okay, but it's all coming in alignment. This is a year of specific ascension themes. Okay, this has to do with spiritual evolution, letting go, things changing on a global level, especially in terms of monies, as well as war, and general like climate or political change. A lot is going through upheaval this year, and there's a possibility of a mode of ascension. Speaking of which, we're going to go into the tarot now, and I'm going to look at 6 cards, 3 and 3, that form 2 triangles, and it's going to show me a pathway of ascension for Leos this month. Let's see here. I'm going to shuffle up 8, 7, 8. 7 and 1 cut. Alright. So I'll list these cards out. I'm not going to be recording, but I'll list them out. We have here the Hierophant, the first triangle. Hierophant, 6 of Swords in reverse, and Page of Cups. Second, we have the King of Pentacles, High Priestess in the past position, as well as the 6 of Cups. All right, so in terms of your pathway of ascension, you're going to be working hard on things that you currently are invested in. Taurus is very strongly activated in terms of your MC, the 10th house, and it's important to not to not rely or to not be fooled by by the visions of your masters. If you have any masters in terms of either spiritual masters or masters in terms of who takes care of your finances, who's above you, who gives you money in terms of your work, okay, do not be fooled by them. This is a time for redefining your investments, and to note that there is a higher purpose to the work that you put out there, that you can do work that also resonates with a higher form, something that you feel is the right thing to do. Trust that intuition. Watch out for those who would otherwise hide something from you, or have like delusions about their reality, how to handle money, where money truly comes from. Money truly comes from the divine, for example. If it is good money, if it is clean money, it comes from the divine. That's one way of thinking about the mode of ascension here. We also have here in the past position Six of Swords in the reverse and the High Priestess. Now, it's interesting because the Hierophant meets the High Priestess, and there's a strong connection here that I'm detecting that that seems like an investment beyond time and space. And if you're dealing with something like that, something that is a strong pull, don't worry about it. Whatever you're doing now, it produces a mode of service, and you're supposed to be of service to another thing. In the future position, we have the seven, and we have the 7 cups from the page, as well as the 6 of cups. So that's 7 cups in total. In the future, there is a chance to sort of use the influence of the High Priestess and the Hierophant, and to go forward with your projects, your desires, your ambitions, to trust your intuition. And it may seem like everything in the near future, especially in the later half of February, seems to be arbitrary. It seems to be sort of random. There is no randomness in that. It's not even just synchronicity. There's something about what you are sort of gearing up to do that pushes forward a special formula that that comes from within, and it's a very important one. It's something about an alchemy that comes from all of this. The Hierophant as well as the High Priestess are the main cards, major arcana cards that come out of this. And basically, I see here an activation of certain timelines with a person, okay, that is beyond time and space, that is very influential into you doing the right thing. Any sort of confusion will be set aside from the fact that you, in the core, know that you're doing something that resonates with authenticity, with your higher form, with your highest form, with your soul's desire. Okay, so hopefully that comes as a clear message. In terms of reverse position, we have Hangman. This is a really good time to check your relationships, the most significant relationships, at least 1, 2, or 3 of them, and to let things go. And it's not just like letting go and you're gonna regret it, whatever. It's just letting things go as they will, and things should work out in the end. That's what I see with it. Hopefully that helps, my dear Leos. Take care now. Bye bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Virgoans out there. Welcome, my dear Virgo. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I am working here in the month of January to look into February
for the energy of Virgo. This is for Virgoans out there who identify as solar Virgos, as well as lunar Virgos, as well as ascendant Virgos. Any planetary placement within Virgo. We're looking at the first degree on February 1st of 2025, and what we see here should ring through in terms of a follow-through for the month of 2025, February 2025. Firstly, when we look at this, we're going to look firstly at Mercury, okay, which is in Aquarius, and it is being combusted by the sun. And the moon's energy also, late January, will illuminate your 6th house. So there's a new moon that occurs there, activating the energy of the cusp of Aquarius. This year is going to be rather intense. There's something about the theme of combustion that is strong. And because Mercury and Pluto are here, there are certain gifts that are being granted with an aspect, a trine to Jupiter in retrograde. Okay, that's in your 10th house. Okay, that allows and stimulates for your 6th house to benefit. Now, it's interesting because I've never read it this way, but Virgos, generally speaking, have a way of working in an intellectual capacity that is most efficient, that is proficient, that is also sort of really good at finding out analytically the logical path of least resistance. And also, there's a multiplicity about the way they work. Meaning that there is a forward sort of outcome-based oriented quality to Virgo that requires a great deal of intellect, okay, that is being stimulated right now in the month of February, okay, that kind of like, it kind of comes into like a reification, which is basically like multiple streams, like two different realities fusing into one. When it comes to assessing a karmic block and being blessed by the gateway of Gemini, Jupiter retrograde, in your 10th house. Okay, in the MC, Jupiter retrograde Gemini, and then providing a trine to this lunar energy, this moon energy that becomes combust, new moon energy, Mercury, Pluto, combust the sun, conjunction. Okay, it allows for, wow, like, it allows for one thing, Saturn to be sort of elicited. And what does that mean? It means that 2nd house away from the 6th, in your 7th house, there's something about certain relationships, okay, that you will attract, that for this month, you will be able to become very practical about, okay? Soul connections, important, significant other relationships, dealings with others, okay, romances even, soul connections, karmic connections, dealing with the actions and the curvatures of another timeline that is from another person. You're going to encounter within the Vish Yoga of Saturn and Moon, okay, blessings that come from the 11th, blessings that come from the 10th, okay, and you're going to know how to act according to generating fortune with others, and somehow everything that you do is contingent to these others. It would be wise to seek out spiritual masters at this time, to seek out either gurus or teachers of some sort of wisdom, okay, spiritual wisdom, and you can benefit from that most definitely. What does it mean when the 6th house has 3 major planets, Pluto being one of them, Mercury and the Sun, which are more important planets, that happens in the cusp of Aquarius? What happens when you have a stellium there, a minor stellium, 3 planets in the 6th house? Well, primarily, it activates a block and then a release when it comes to your work, a block and a release when it comes to what you're called to do on a collective level through the gateway of Gemini on your MC. Okay, mouthful. Now, I'll just say this. Whatever's going on in the outside world that has to do with a change of power, that has to do with a change of a system, in this month and in the year of 2025, in February and in 2025, basically what I see here is on a collective level, huge shifts going on in terms of an activation of a Gandanta point, which is a transference from water to fire. And this one happening in your 7th and 8th houses. There's going to be a complete revolution when it comes to deep personal relations, and the Gandanta point, which is basically a karmic knot between two cusps of the zodiac. There are 3 of them. This one is being activated, activating your 7th and 8th houses. Transformations of relationships, soul connections with shared investments, that's 8th house, taxes, and release of tension when it comes to that. These are all pointed to in the year of 2025, early on in the year, in February. It's highly accentuated. We have a stellium of Chiron, Vesta, the North Node, Venus, and Neptune, all within this later part of Pisces that is activating the Gandanta point and stimulating a transformation. Now, a Gandanta point, it's often feared in Vedic astrology as something that is not desirable. But Gandanta, which is basically a karmic knot on a collective level, is a point of complete revolution. A point within a chart that shows a purpose, a spiritual purpose, a calling to address certain things on a collective level that's happening, and you can benefit from it. So if we count houses, it's roughly around your 7th house. So a lot of relationships with others is going to be very important. You're gonna watch them go through these changes, go through the baptism of fire and water together. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 7 and 12 houses away from this Gandanta point. You can formulate new relationships and spiritual relationships. You can have endings with certain relationships around this time. And it's important to go through the transformation to bring the fire of the Fool, the fire of Prometheus, into light. So I think it's a very interesting reading for this month. Now we're going to go straight into tarot, and we'll be looking into the quantum field using 2 triangle spreads. That's 3 and 3 cards. Making 6 cards total, and I'll list the cards. I'm not going to record it on video, but I'm going to list the cards through audio and show you a pathway of ascension for this month for the energy of Virgo. So it's a 3, 6, 3 and 3. Okay. So first triangle on the apex, we have 6 of swords in the reverse. In the past position, we have High Priestess. We have in the forward position of the triangle the 9 of swords in reverse. We have on the second triangle apex position 7 in the reverse. There's a lot of swords going on. 6, 7, and 9 so far. Past position, we have King of Rods. Forward position, we have the Hanged Man. Ooh, interesting. So let's do some alchemy here. When it comes to the apex of the triangle of quantum, we have the 7 and the 6 of swords combined, both in the reverse.
There's a difference here of the Ace of Swords. The Ace of Swords blocks the 6. This is not a time to escape. It's time to feel feelings, to go through certain relationships, and to remember why you were called to those relationships. There's a spiritual meaning to every relationship, even with your enemies. And it's important to go to those relationships and to process and to see what triggered the fear. If you found yourself avoiding certain relationships, if somebody avoided you, or there was a push-pull dynamic and it didn't work out, there's something that you were called to learn there, and you're supposed to discern what that is to get through and process through fear. It will allow you through, yes, that's basically it. This is what this reading is about. You need to walk through the gateway of Gemini to elevate to the 7th house and get to the 11th. And this allows for you to embrace Aquarian energy, Aquarian ideals, walk through the gateway of Jupiter in retrograde in Gemini. If you can, you are supposed to realize why you've attracted karmic relationships, to understand the trauma bond there, to understand that there's a spiritual meaning there, and it would leave you fearless and a lot more clear in terms of your mindset. This includes any bad relationships, in quotations, with in quotations, narcissists or sociopaths. Like I said, in every enemy there is a God, or there's a friend. Okay, something like that. There's something here, movement from the 11th to the 12th. Okay, houses that will signify something for you. There's nothing happening in the 12th for you, at least currently, from the ascendant in Virgo, but in the 11th, there's Pars, Fortune, and Mars retrograde in Cancer, aspecting the 9th and the 7th houses. So, without making it too much of an in-depth reading, we have here basically a way to produce non-action, letting fortune resolve itself, letting luck come to your favor without doing anything. These are themes that I see for this month, and the High Priestess watches over, as well as the Hanged Man watches over you. This is a time to go back and figure out why certain things were called, or you pulled or attracted to certain things, and then to realize what's deep down in there. If you combine the 7 and the 6 in the reverse, you get the 11 in the reverse of swords. Okay, excuse me, 7 and 6. No, that makes 13. So that would be let's see, Ace, 2, 3. It would be 3 in the reverse. There is a process of healing in all of this. There is a process of healing in all of this, and truth will emerge and leave you. It will cut the cords of adversity. If we are collectively going through a Gandanta point, okay, which arguably from this Western reading we are, and that's the difficulty because I am still using the Western schema, then there is a possibility that we're going to have to realize that some things must end. A way of attaching to others and sort of living the old paradigm of toxic romance with them is not necessary anymore. And that's all I have to say for this month. Hopefully this finds you in good news and good tidings. Okay, if you need a reading, just call, or not call, but send me an email. Otherwise, take care. Bye-bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Librans out there. This is Ron from tarotofthetwinsun. I am working here on the YouTube platform to bring forward a prognostication, look into the future in terms of knowing what may or may not happen in February. These are all projections in terms of conductivity, alchemy, as well as anything geomantic, just sort of getting the vibe of a time and space that's located around February 1st. Okay, this reading should last and resound throughout February. There is a new moon that was recently activated in the solar cusp of Aquarius in late January that will be prevalent in terms of planting the seeds of your fifth house. Now, the fifth house basically is the domineering force is Leonic, and the Lion's Gate is there. So there is a propensity for basically one thing that I'm noticing is that there will be a sort of I want to call it a glimpse a glimpse in terms of seeing other people as mediums. Okay, what do I mean by this? I mean, there will be a glimpse of seeing a mirror version of yourself in another, and they are mediums. They are an artful representation of your inner self. Okay? And that means that the person that you are seeing is engaged in a tense, like in a future tense or in a pretense. And it's your job to discern how their ego melts away the prospects of sort of seeing them for what they are beyond the ego. It's a very interesting reading in terms of the new moon energy. Your fifth house is being activated. It is very important to find a creative outlet at this time to manifest a future timeline that relates to your ninth house, which is the cusp of Gemini. Okay, so especially for ascendant Librans, solar Librans, lunar Librans, also the same. This is a reading in terms of February containing content that allows you to see in a creative way your own projection onto stimulated relationships or stimulated potential relationships. Okay? The more creative you can get with this, the more fun you can have with it. If that's what you're looking for, this is going to be a very fun month. Jupiter is in retrograde in square with Saturn, just like last month. And there are certain gifts when it comes to creative pursuits. Okay, the quest for dharmic knowledge, the quest for truth with a capital T that opens in the gateway of Gemini and shines the sun on the pyramid of the fifth house is fucking important. Okay, excuse the expletive. I'll tell you one thing. With the South Node in a tight conjunction with the Ascendant at 1 degree of Libra, South Node is currently in Western Astrology. It's currently in Virgo at about 29.48 degrees. South Node being there in the cusp of perfection means that there is a perfection in the divine. And you are a physical representation of the divine. And during this month, if people were to encounter you, it would not surprise me if they were to see a halo around you, if they were able to read your aura. Okay? You're glowing with this radiance of perfection, of divinity, that stimulates the North Node, our own technological avatarial experience, okay, with all our technological ambitions, blah, blah, blah. A stellium, including Chiron, Vesta, the North Node, Venus, Neptune, Moon, and Saturn, all on your descendant. Meaning that there will be a way this month to understand your karmic lesson
in terms of prarabdha, which is the culmination of your karmas throughout incarnations. Looking into past lives is very important at this time. People will recognize you in a time of war as a peaceful warrior, a peaceful counter agent to a nemesis. Okay, the anathema to nemesis, to war, is peace. Your ruler Venus is currently in Pisces. Okay, with a very powerful conjunction, and with that, the dispositor Jupiter is 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away. There is a gateway inside of you between your left and right sides that is the nexus and the staff of the Holy King that has died. What I'm talking about here is the secret esoteric knowledge of the column, the spinal column, the chakra system. And this is a time to be very cognizant of your tantric and your Shakti-based manifestations, because you can have a chance for multiplicity at this time. What does that mean? It means that you can potentially travel timelines and also encounter yourself in other people that have this familiarity, and you're supposed to find yourself in that intellectual capacity. Now that's a mouthful. Let's go into the tarot card readings. We're going to be looking into the quantum realm. 3 cards over 2 triangles, 3 cards and 3 cards overlapped, and we're going to what do you call it? Rectify or triangulate, okay, Libra in terms of ascension for the month of February. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Major teacher 6, exaltation 6, Saturn in Pisces 6, 3 and 3. Wow. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and get started now. This deck is ready. Underscoring card is the 9 in reverse. This is not a time to fear. Getting through the program of fear, especially through media sources, is a very good thing to do now. If you haven't quit TV already, which you probably have if you're following my channel, quit TV. Obviously, anything that has to do with commercial undertones, quit it. Let's see here, or political undertones. We have the Hierophants as well, the Empress as the first triangle, and wow, and the World card. We also have the excuse me. We have the second triangle. We have Ace of Pentacles. We have 10 of Pentacles on the lower left. We have the Ace of Swords. Excuse me. So what I'm seeing here is that there's an investment that activates your second house, and it's a spiritual investment. You can sort of, you can condone, or you can ask for celestial favors at this time. You have to realize that there's a sublimation through the nexus of the second house, okay, which is Scorpio, opposite that 8th house, Taurus, and Uranus is in Taurus. It's an important time to plant this seed, and it's not just a normal seed. It's not just like a normal job thing. I'm talking about a career seed or like a mission seed, and you can do that now. It would be a really good time to do that now. That's your pathway of ascension. We have in the past position
Empress, as well as ten of ten of Ten of Pentacles. So generally speaking, Venus watches over your past. The Divine Feminine watches over your past, and you may have been blessed with things that are given to you, either through work, a place to work, or a home, or a family. These are blessings, and whatever blessing you have, out of those three in particular or more, you should consider those blessings. Venus watches over you. Good health watches over you. We have here in the future position the World plus the Ace of Swords. And there's something about this where even as the world shifts and changes, your sixth house will be activated. There are skills that are going to give you the voicing that allows you to speak the truth and cut yourself from the fixed cross. Meaning that if you find yourself in a mode of sacrifice, this is an outdated paradigm, and you're supposed to be going into a mode of truth, for one thing, and self-realization, as opposed to sacrifice. Sacrifice is played out. You don't need to do that anymore. I mean, you could, but for what reason? I mean, you just accrue a lot of negative karma, and yeah, it's important to make a relationship with the higher up, the realm above. Okay, whatever dimension you identify with, make a connection there, and you don't need to sacrifice for that placement. You simply make communion with it. It's different. Okay. We have here also travel would be good. Also, the 5th, 9th, and 1st houses are very stimulated for you. It would be important to be creative, to stand by the truth, to also sort of follow your intuition. It will lead you places. Lilith on the 1st house in Libra. Yeah. So working hard is important. Venus watches over you. Taurian energy is very strong in this reading. Generally speaking, it is a very positive reading. 10 of Pentacles, Ace of Pentacles, Ace of Swords, Ace of Rods. I mean, that's a stellar reading with all major arcana. Nothing toxic at all. So I'm wishing you guys the best in terms of the month. And Ramadan is coming up. Wishing you the best of Ramadan in March. Otherwise, take care. Bye-bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Scorpios out there. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. The 8th house is open. We're doing a look into Scorpio's energy for the month of February 2025. And this is for any placement in Scorpio, and most probably the ascendant, sun, or moon. In terms of Scorpio influence, so you can read from any planetary sort of position. Certain houses will be stimulated. We're going to be taking the ascendant, 1st degree, and looking into the month of February. Now, firstly, there is a new moon, late January, that stimulates your 4th house, and it moves and waxes towards the 6th. By the 1st of February, the moon will create a Vish Yoga just before... just a little bit into February, create a Vish Yoga, which is a conjunction between Moon and Saturn, and it is also conjunct Neptune. What does this mean? It means that the solar energy of the 5th house produces deep insight into the spiritual talents that are based on the art of making love, okay? And the art of creation, and the art of the innocent child. It is a very good time, primarily to download information, occult information, with a Saturn and Jupiter square. This download takes a long time to produce the effect that you would like for it to do. But this new moon basically is going to provide, through the square and also Jupiter's influence on the 4th house, okay, with all this Aquarian energy, basically an inner world that is untouched, and a sense of also movement when it comes to the possibility of coming to a mode of self-realization that also is produced through the gateway of Gemini, Jupiter retrograde, shining its influence, a trine towards the fourth house. Okay, so you're going to get downloads around this time. And like I said, these are downloads that you become cognizant of, at least in terms of ideologies or ideas coming to you that you think you get later on, but they're actually being downloaded now. Okay, so the more you can do to attune yourself and initiate yourself through meditation or through some form of sadhana, spiritual practice, there will be essentially information for you, and these have to do with skills of self-realization and the activation of the 4, 8, and 12 houses, okay, which are the houses of moksha, liberty, spiritual transcendence, and the ascension motif. With the fourth house heavily activated, your fourth house heavily activated, and the stellium of Aquarius, there is a chance that really you can use your own inner world to find and get this information, okay, from Jupiter. Your traditional ruler, which is Mars, as well, the Western ruler, which is Pluto, creates an interesting dynamic here, wherein Mars in retrograde produces the stillness that you need, Mars in retrograde, in terms of your 10th house, the cusp of Cancer. 9th and 10th houses. So what does this mean? It means that there's a possibility that there are subtle forces or subtle actions in terms of the foreign, the exotic, also the religious or the spiritual or the philosophical. There are subtle forms of action that are occurring now on a collective level that stimulate your karma as well as your MC, what you're here to do. And it's being geared towards primarily, it would be the dispositor of the moon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 8, 9, and 10 houses, 8th, 9th, and 10th houses will be highly stimulated the first week of February and late January. Basically, there's going to be an interesting 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 8, 9, 10. There's going to be a transformation of your own core personal spiritual belief system, okay? It has nothing to do with religion, and it stimulates primarily a Gandanta point that is being formed between the 5th and 6th houses. There's something about this point, in particular between Pisces and Aries, and the stellium that's activated there, that allows on a collective level for us to generate work, creative work. So it's also a very positive time for creativity to find an outlet. Okay, and that's a bit of the takeaway in terms of this month. I am also going to be doing a tarot reading. It's a spread known as the quantum triangle, and that requires 2 sustained fields of resonance, 2 triangles, 3 and 3 cards. That makes 6 cards total, and I'll be listing out the cards as they come. And we're going to see and track the mode of ascension in the month of February for the energy of Scorpio. Thanks for tuning in. Let me see. 4 plus a cut. Plus a cut. Okay. We have the 5 of Cups in the Ascension points. Bottom right triangle, we have the Chariot. Bottom left, we have the 6 of Rods. second triangle, we have the Wheel of Fortune. Bottom right, we have the Ace of Pentacles in reverse. We also have the Four of Cups on the bottom left. Challenge position, seventh card. Okay, so there's going to be a creative force in you that allows, excuse me, it allows you to sort of to focus on what you are manifesting. Okay, fifth house activation, Saturn conjunct Moon conjunct Neptune. This has to do with your skill sets. There's a natural bent of melancholy that you may feel this month, and it's an emotional tapping into the Wheel of Fortune. When this occurs, your emotions will be heightened, and there's going to be a sensitivity, perhaps even a fear complex that allows you to sort of foresee certain events, to see certain things, see certain timelines. And because of that, there's going to be an excess amount of water in your system, meaning that you would have to find a creative way to purify that water. And it's very important to do that, if you can find a way to do that. We also have here the seventh major arcana, the Chariot in the past position. So there are two major arcana, the Wheel of Fortune and the Chariot. They're connected. And there's something about the rejection of a gift, the rejection of a commitment, the rejection getting out of something, not finding yourself to be sufficient enough. But there's a moving on from that energy. You're manifesting now, and what you're manifesting is the element of water, and it raises you up and it elevates you on certain timelines. When it does this, there's a chance that you will not participate anymore in terms of an emotional context with certain futures, okay? So that means that if you were to be love bombed or given something, if you were gifted an excess amount of creative force, you wouldn't need it. So it's a very strange irony wherein you are supposed to discipline your creative tendencies, your Shakti, your energetic force, also your sweat and your tears. You discipline all of that, and you bring it forward to the Six of Rods. There is a mode of independence here that's very strong, and anything that you are learning in certain timelines of the past, there is a sense that there's a weird catharsis where you find out that's exactly what you wanted at that time. Some people manifest, let's say, situations that do not fit them, or that they would say they don't like, but in actuality that is what they like. Okay, and that is kind of the takeaway here. It's kind of a very mysterious way of saying that you don't have to participate in that game anymore. And there's going to be resistance to from your friends or your colleagues, or even from yourself, for walking this path. So it's a very strange reading. I can't really say much more, at least not at this moment, but hopefully that gives you a sense of what this month is about. Take care now, my dear Scorpios. Bye-bye. Greetings and welcome to my dear Sagittarians out there. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I'm working through the YouTube platform, and we're doing here prognostication, look into the future, prognosis in terms of the energy of Sagittarius. We're at the first degree of Sagittarius. This is for early February. We have a screenshot here of the 2nd of February. And there is a new moon type of energy that begins around your 3rd house at the end of January, that is activating an ascension motif, which is in your 3rd house, primarily in the house of Kama, in the house of friendship, as well in the house of short distance traveling, cities, friends, networks, grids, social media, lesser education, in the house of the magician. So it's a very powerful little stellium here. Sun, Venus, and Pluto conjunct in the third house, and the moon, of course, was new, late January, and it activated the third, fifth, and then eventually the fourth and fifth houses. So the moon also conjuncts Saturn, which creates for a small window a Vish Yoga, which is a moon and Saturn conjunction. When this occurs, there are certain skills that activate your fourth house in particular, and it also brings forward connections with others, third and fifth house, and it activates a Gandanta point around here, which is the transition from Pisces to Aries. Yeah, and that is pretty relevant considering that this is a year of ascension for a lot of people, and the stellium in Aquarius is definitely a gateway for the new moon to bring forward and purify the mind and go through the transformation you need, or that your friends need in particular, brothers or sisters, by the way. In a way, you are host to this transformational energy. And on a collective level, especially because of your Jupiter retrograde in Gemini in your seventh house cusp, especially for ascendant Sagittarians out there, there is a strong energy of Jupiter in retrograde that stimulates the gateway of Gemini and produces effects of types of relationships, okay? Special relationships with a lot of people that you have a soul tie with, okay? And this produces a very interesting effect. It also has a square on the Vish Yoga, Saturn square Jupiter in retrograde, and this has been a common sort of theme because they are definitely slower movers in the zodiac, in the planetary motion of things. And Jupiter in retrograde will eventually gift you something in terms of proper connections and reworking your friend zones. Okay, what do I mean by that? Reworking your friend zones, reworking the etiquette and the proper way of leading through the gateway of Gemini, through the gateway of also the third house. There is like sort of a whittling effect where you whittle the wood in order to create an instrumentality of the material you're given on this incarnation. And generally speaking, this is an auspicious time, okay, to sort of maneuver through your networks and to slim it down. Sagittarians are terribly popular, and they have a lot of connections, generally speaking. And this is a time for you to figure out how to move from timeline to timeline by activating the triplicity of air. Okay, Aquarius and Gemini are part of that triplicity, as well as Libra, and benefiting from that, at least in terms of dealing with your outside world, how to reify or how to simplify your relationships, okay, to significant others. Let's see. Jupiter is in retrograde, which is your ruler in the cusp of Gemini, and Mercury, we'd have to look to Mercury for a Bhava reading. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's something about a lesson in all this that creates a harmony, a trine formation between your third and seventh. That means that there are going to be a lot of people that you attract, and you're supposed to sort of you're supposed to sort of produce or orchestrate a way of connecting with them without over investing. Like if you have like a best friend, it would natural for you to have another best friend or something like that. Or if you have a lover, it'd be natural to have another lover. So that's the secret behind the Magician and the Hanged Man. and the triplicity of air is that intellectually, love should not be a limited or conditioned thing towards one object of affection. Okay, and this time might be, in a sense, a way for you to sort of simplify the concept, the abstract concept of love, okay? And how it can be applied through a philosophical lens, how universal love can be paramour, okay? Yeah, that's primarily it in terms of this month. Well, actually, no, we have to also do the quantum reading. So I'll be doing a 3-card over 3-card spread. That's 6 cards in total, 2 triangles. And we're tracking here Sagittarius. So let's see, 7, 3, 3 and 4. 3 and 4. Sagittarius in the month of February for a theme of ascension through the quantum triangle reading. 3 and then 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So, the first triangle is the Wheel of Fortune, as well Ace of Rods in the past position. Forward position is another triangle, 3 of Pentacles. Okay, interesting. So that's Wheel of Fortune, Ace of Swords, 3 of Pentacles. Overlaying that is another triangle. We have the 8 of Pentacles on the apex. We have the Queen of Rods in the past position, and we have Major Arcana, the World. Excuse me. So, there are 2 Major Arcana in this spread, Wheel of Fortune and the World. This is a time of transition, and you are supposed to fix your assets. There's something about you gaining quite a bit from the work in terms of networking with others and getting what you deserve. There is one person in particular that will help you in the pathway of ascension to stabilize your efforts in terms of manifesting the right types of value into your life, okay? And putting in the hard work in order for things to work out. Let's see, there's something unsaid in all of this. You're supposed to be doing some grinding this month. For example, if a river were to flow through the countryside, and it was an agricultural countryside, eventually they developed a way to take the harvest and put it into a machine, like a mill, for example. And a mill would mill grain. It would grind it using hydrodynamics in order to produce flour, for example, or produce a finer product. This is the same principle. You let things flow accordingly. There are at least 2 connections where there are hidden teachers in the 7th house. And these 2 will provide you with a type of transformation in terms of Pluto's energy in your 3rd as well as Mercury's energy. The sun takes second precedence here. The sun is giving radiance and combustion to both Mercury and Pluto in your 3rd house. And there are 2 teachers that you're dealing with, either relationships or business associations, something that has to do with your mission, soul ties, karmic ties. And it's your job to put in the work and figure out how to, let's say, do what is right, and to rise up in terms of a timeline, and to know when it's time to go from that and to work towards the idea of community. The 3rd house is all about community, and there's something about the occult nature of Pluto as well as Mercury that allow for this duality of Jupiter in retrograde, dual relationships to push forward at least 2 different timelines, okay, in the future. That's what I see with this reading. It's a very interesting reading. Yeah. You have to make a choice. Somehow the choice leads to community of some sort. It's like working on on the game as opposed to working on the player, working on the matrix as opposed to working on like energetic resources. You work on the matrix instead. You architect that out. Anyways, hopefully that helps somehow. Take care now, my dear Sagittarians. Greetings and welcome to my dear Capricorns out there. This is Ron from Tarot of the Twin Sun. I am working here on the platform of YouTube to bring forward a prognosis or a prognostication, a look into the future of potentially what could happen in the month of February. I'm just getting to the first degree here of the cusp of Capricorn, and this reading is for solar, lunar, ascendant Capricorns, or any planetary placement from Capricorn. We're using a house system in order to produce predictions, especially in terms of ascension. I'll be using astrology plus I'll be doing a reading in terms of the quantum field using two triangles to form the quantum triangle, and it's going to be a powerful reading, I imagine. Your ruler, Capricorn, is Saturn, and Saturn is currently in the third house, activating a stellium in the Gandanta points of the third and the fourth in your IC. What does that mean? There's a huge inner transformation that combines the mojo of all of these planets that are within the stellium. That includes Saturn, Neptune, Venus, the North Node, the Moon, as well as Chiron. Okay, and when it activates your IC, it means that there is an inner transformation deep that has to do with spiritual realization in the Gandanta point, the karmic knot point between Pisces and Aries. Okay, what does that mean? It means primarily that the IC will be stimulated, your inner world will go through a major transformation, and it's further supported by the stellium here in your second house. So there is a chance to find the self or the self's relation to, let's say, the money or the assets or the energy of others. Okay? And this is a special time wherein late January, the moon activates a new moon in Aquarius. And this year has already been pretty profound in terms of showing what's possible of the coming months and the year to come. And this stellium in Aquarius, combined with the stellium in the Gandanta point between your third and fourth houses at the IC, is pretty significant. And with Saturn, there is something about the moon crossing over and gifting you early February something of a hidden skill when it comes to dealing with business, when it comes to dealing with information, okay, and also dealing with information in terms of your social life or your social media. Dealing with that and getting some sort of skill, some sort of download, okay? It activates and pushes forward a relationship to Mars in retrograde, as well as Jupiter. It squares up with Jupiter in retrograde in the cusp of Gemini, which is pretty significant. The dispositor of Saturn in Pisces is Jupiter, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 houses away. Once again, the theme of 4 and 44 will be very important for this month, and that number is related to the self. And the self, it's tricky, this one. It has to do with the fourth dimension, and it also has to do with producing it's like an encapsulating strategy wherein your ability to activate fourth house or fifth house or sixth, seventh, eighth house types of strategies when it comes to your own path of liberation is highly activated. okay? Meaning that there is a spiritual attunement. You're gonna be going to a lot of people who have a lot of questions this month. There's going to be sort of a push in terms of your work, okay? And there's going to be the gateway of Gemini that allows for you to access a lot of money and stability and produce, generally speaking, your second house cusp. Now, the interesting thing is that when it comes to this, you're going to have the business acumen to do the right thing, to make the right investments at this time if you need to. And if you go deeper within the self, okay, there's a baptism through fire that allows you to sort of come up with your own value system, to do the healing that is necessary when it comes to inner work, okay? Emotional trauma, all of that, relating to others, anything that has to do with the home or the family, it's going to be called to directly sort of work on that so that you can potentially produce a new future for yourself, okay? A future of stability, great stability, and a future that knows the future, a future that knows itself, in terms of a practical way to generate the idea of family, to generate also the idea of stability of a legacy, which is one of your greater ambitions, okay? Especially for ascendant Capricorn, solar, lunar Capricorns. So it's an interesting month. The dispositor of that is in Jupiter. The dispositor of Jupiter is in Mercury, which is let's see, in the second house. So this is all related. This grid that is here, basically, it's stimulating primarily houses of the self, and it allows for the hemisphere of the self, of self-worth and self-working, to do the work in order to produce stabilized efforts, stabilized results in the future, okay? So yes, there's something about you working with others, observing the actions of others, and allowing your own inherent gift, okay, of independence and liberty and freedom of your own sort of intellectual property to be very, very, very important. Be careful what you post on social media. Not everything that you're going through should be allowed to be seen by others, okay? But yeah, generally speaking, a good month for ascension, especially. Let's see here. I'm going to pull a few cards. I've already shuffled. We have here at the apex of the triangle, first triangle, 5 of Pentacles. We have 6 of Cups. Second card, third card, we have King of Pentacles. Overlaying that second triangle, we have the Star card. We have on the lower right the 8 of Swords. No, the 4 of Swords. And we also have the Tower. Okay, interesting future position. There's something about you that is letting go of desperation. Letting go of desperation is called right now. The stars, the angels, the heavens will conspire you to go through a process of healing when it comes to desperate situations, okay? You and your loved ones, you and anyone who you've ever worked with in terms of commonality in work, and producing certain results, all of that is now is the time to let go. I see here a process of at least one season that is in the past position where you similarly have had to let go. There's a sense of clarity in this letting go. And even though the path may be obscure to the future, generally speaking, you're going to be a master of commanding resources and pushing forward your own agenda, your own work, your own sense of self-fulfillment when it comes to your work, okay? That is a positive reading. There also is something about the 7th house. Mars retrograde in your 7th means that you don't have to act too much in relationships. There's a natural force that is occurring there, Mars retrograde in Cancer, that kind of behaves like a slingshot or a sidewinder. And what does that mean? It means that there are karmic energies in your significant relationships, primarily one of them, that is going through incredible change, And your gift is not to push it, not to push agendas there. There's a natural way of things working out in terms of peace, and the Divine Mother watches over it. That's a message I had to give you in terms of that. So, what does that mean? It means that whatever you do in terms of letting go is the correct mode of operation, the correct MO. Letting go and letting things flow. Okay? All right. Well, hopefully that helps. If you want a reading, I am available this month. Also, take care. Bye bye.